Okay, so the webinar has started, so we're starting to go through our participants. I have a feeling that this one's going to be quite a popular one, so we will let everybody pop in. So far, we're at 120, 140, 150, so they're coming in fast and furious. So we'll give everybody a few minutes just to kind of come in. 250.
Jeez.
Yeah. This is the popular one. So if you are coming in, students, you are here for Carleton University Challenge What's Possible. We'll give everybody just another minute to get in, and then I will introduce the speaker for today and explain everything and how it works. Some of you have already been into the first session, so you know how it does work. As you're coming in, you know that if you do wish to answer any question or ask any questions, I should say, it's in the Q&A, which is at the bottom of your screen. Raising your hand will not do anything, so don't bother doing that because you won't have the ability to speak. Hi is, thank you very much. That is a question that just came in. So just keep the questions appropriate as you are going in. And if there's any questions that come in that are inappropriate, we will unfortunately kick you out of not only the session, but also the entire launch session. So please make sure that you keep your questions appropriate and so that way we can go through the questions efficiently. So I think what we'll do is we'll get started. It started to lull a little bit. We're at 407, or sorry, 474-ish participants. So let me introduce you to, we have two people here today. We have Stanley Phillip, is longtime member of the Carleton community. His expertise is in helping students connect their passions with an array of program offerings available to one of Canada's top comprehensive universities. He's held various positions in Carleton's undergraduate recruitment office, including his current role as EDI, Outreach and Recruitment Officer. We also have Francesco here as well, and he can introduce himself as well. He's going to be in behind the scenes with me, helping you answer the Q&A. So Francesco, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, my name is not Caitlin Anderson. My name is Francesco Stacca. I was a student at Carleton University. I just graduated recently with a major in history and a minor in Greek and Roman civilizations. So if anyone has any particular questions about those as well, please feel free to ask me. I'd love to get a handle on some of those questions. Other than that, very excited to get started here today.
And just so everyone knows, these sessions are recorded. You won't have access to the slide decks, but you will have access to all of the recordings, and they will be up after the live session today, up until a month, and you'll be able to access that through the website. All right, so I think if we're all set and ready to go, Philip, Stanley will be your presenter for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that intro. And Francesco, thanks as always for supporting our efforts. And it's just great to see you. We have a
Good to
really
see you too.
we have an awesome team here at Carleton, and Francesco is one of our newer team members, but really a great example of what happens at Carleton. We have students that join our community, not maybe knowing what our school is all about, and then just falling in love with the community, with the program, with the ways that they can really, again, pursue their passions. And here is Francesco, aka Caitlin Anderson, who is going to be rocking that Q&A. So please ask those questions. We love questions that are related to our school. I love questions that are related to, like, the Toronto Maple Leafs winning the Stanley Cup this year, something I believe in strongly. So that is actually an appropriate question you can ask me today. But if you are tuned in, and shout out to all the 587, 88 people that are here, this feels like the starting of social media, when you first join, like, Instagram or TikTok, and just like add all of the people that and they're all saying yes to your friend request. So it's kind of nice to see so many people saying yes to our presentation today. I'm actually going to share my screen so you can get a glimpse into what will hopefully become your future home. And that place is none other than good old Carleton University. And gosh, I love this place. It's an amazing place. I'm from Toronto, Ontario. Shout out to anyone that maybe either lives in Scarborough or grew up in Scarborough or has a Scarborough connection. That's where I grew up. I grew up on McCowan and Finch was my main intersection. That was my area. And so I know Toronto pretty well. And going to Carleton really changed my life. And Carleton is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation. And when we think about our location, and when we take this moment to really acknowledge the responsibility we have in being on the traditional lands of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation, it allows us to really reflect, also to look forward. And that's one of the biggest things that happens at our school is we're constantly connecting the past to our present and into the future. And for us, you know, there is no Carleton, there is no city of Ottawa without acknowledging the Indigenous communities that were there, are there, and will continue to be there. And we just want to make sure that we incorporate the communities to the best of our abilities and really reflect what we want our school to be. We want our school to be an inclusive place, a place that is diverse in thought, diverse in population, diverse in experiences. And it's one of the best things about joining a post-secondary institution is to have the ability to mix and mingle and to really interact and learn from people that look like you and people that have completely different experiences. And one of the things that will happen when you do come see us is you're going to get a chance to be right here. Carleton University, Canada's capital university, located in the heart of the city of Ottawa. We're 20 minutes south of the downtown core. We have a beautiful picturesque, like this picture could have been taken literally today. That's how nice our campus looks. We're surrounded by two bodies of water, the Rideau River, the Rideau Canal. We have beautiful buildings on our campus. We have all of our residence facilities located right on our campus. We have our flight facilities as well right there. We've got tunnels, y'all. Every single building on our campus is connected through the underground tunnel system, which allows us to do two really big things. One, on days that don't look like this, you know, if it gets a bit snowy or if it's raining like it was this morning in the Peel area, which I'm actually in right now in the Peel area, if it's raining or if it's too sunny for your liking, you're able to take our tunnels anywhere, to the gym, to your classes, back to your residence buildings, wherever you want to go on our campus. You can navigate above or underground. The other thing that it allows us to do is to really kind of hone in on our accessibility. And that's one of the trademarks of our school. We're a very accessible university. Our tunnels allows us to do that. Our Paul Minton Center for students with visible and non-visible disabilities allows us to do that as well, to really think about how can we make sure that every student has access to the different spaces and places that make up our home here at Carleton U. And so very proud to be able to have that as one of our traits. And this is the big thing that you're going to want to think about when you're looking at post-secondary. I know programs is always like the initial conversation starter, but ultimately what you're seeing on the screen here is going to really help you hopefully identify the school that really matches up with who you want to be, you know, and it's a question you're going to want to ask the different universities is, well, what makes you you? And for us, accessibility makes us who we are. The number of clubs and societies, the ways our students get involved makes us who we are. We have clubs for everything, every single activity you could think of, from our skiing snowboarding club to our club sandwich club. Yes, you can make club sandwiches with your friends every single day in the Club Sandwich Club. What our student body looks like. We know we have students that are from over 150 different countries represented in our student population. And a lot of those students get a chance to live in residence in their first year. We currently have 11 residence buildings. We're building our 12th one as we speak. So more spaces on our campus for our students to live in. We have the third largest co-op program in Ontario. What does that mean about, how does that speak to who we are? Well, what we're trying to do is help you connect that dot, right? You know, you're thinking about a program, you're thinking about a job, you're thinking about your future. And so co-op allows you to almost sample your future in real time and get paid while you do it. So the fact that we're the third largest co-op program in Ontario and the fastest growing co-op program in Canada really does speak to the importance we put into you being able to sample your future. We have a lot of really great programs that we're going to look at in a bit, but one thing that makes us is money. We've got money, y'all. Last year, $27.7 million in scholarships and bursaries that were given out to our students. So how can you tap into those resources? Well, it really starts off with your admission average. You know, I talk to students all the time. They ask me about competitive averages. Well, here's where you want to be if you want to compete. You want to have at least an 80% average in order for you to qualify for our entrance scholarships that are automatically assessed. So you don't have to ask us about this, email us about this, apply for this. It happens automatically. Now, how do we calculate your admission average? Well, we're going to be looking at your top 6 grade 12 U or M courses, and we include your prerequisite subjects within your admission averages. So when I was in the chat earlier this morning, or the Q&A, students were asking me about psychology. Well, in our Bachelor of Arts, the only required course is English for You. I was also asked about our engineering programs. Within our engineering programs, we do require that you present an advanced functions grade, chemistry, physics, and another math or science at the 4U level. Okay, so your prerequisite courses will be included in your admission average. And again, that average we use to get you in is the average we're going to use to get you paid. Now, one of the cool things that happens at Carleton when it comes to the entrance scholarship program and the grid that you see here is we're going to be continuously looking at your admission average throughout your grade 12 year, even after you receive your offer of admission, if you get in a little bit earlier on during this process. And what that means is if a student sees their average go up between the time they receive their offer of admission and the time you receive your second semester midterm marks, well, your scholarship average can increase as well. Okay, so you can go from having an 85 in January to a 95 in May, and that would increase your scholarship from an $8,000 scholarship to a $16,000 scholarship over the course of 4 years. Okay, just like that. Again, don't have to ask us. We're going to make that assessment on our own. So a really great for us to be able to offer those opportunities. And like we mentioned earlier today, please continue to ask those questions. I see the Q&A is really blowing up right now. There are a lot of great questions that are in the Q&A. So please continue to ask those questions. And if there are anything that we should maybe touch on during our live presentation, I'm sure that either Lisa or Francesco will let me know. But keep asking those great questions. Really happy that you are communicating with us and you're involved in the presentation as we continue the scholarship story. Perceived scholarships that you're seeing on screen are a little bit different than our entrance scholarship in that we are looking for a 90% or above and your extracurricular activities. And so there will be an application that will be required by March 1st. So you can apply to our perceived scholarships without holding an entrance admission offer. So you can apply literally now if you want to, or certainly up until March 1st, in order for you to be considered for our perceived scholarships. There are only 24 of these that are available, hence the prestigious part. However, as you can see, there's a possibility of receiving full tuition in year 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so certainly take the time to apply for a perceived scholarship on our website, carleton.ca/awards. And while you're on there, you'll see a lot of different scholarships and bursaries that are available. Our bursaries are based off of financial need, not academic achievement. So that's really great. There are different scholarships and bursaries that are available for students from different areas of our beautiful country. It could be for students within the Indigenous communities that you may want to look into as well. And so please take the time to navigate that website, carleton.ca/awards, to learn more about, again, the different ways that our students can tap into our financial resources. All right, so money is always a huge deciding factor when it comes to your post-secondary options. But another big factor will be, well, the programs that you're going to be studying. And so what I'm going to do now is show you on screen our 26-degree programs, and I'll only touch on a couple of the ones that I like the most. Doesn't mean that the other programs aren't amazing, because they truly are. It's just the ones that I'm just feeling right now, and to be honest, every single day I do a presentation, I change the programs that I talk about because I get excited about all of them at different times. And so we're going to jump into the different programs, and we'll give you a couple of examples that might help you understand, why we're offering what we are offering. So let's start off with our sciences, and you'll see a lot of new programs that are appearing in our Faculty of Sciences. And with the sciences, it's all about understanding the power of research, and asking, really good questions and looking to find ways of developing new information that can maybe lead us into different pathways. And again, our new programs are very exciting. Our Bachelor of Science in Nursing is super exciting. It's the first new nursing program in Ontario in over 20 years. And so we know that there are a lot of students out there who are interested in going into nursing. We know that there's a need for more nurses here in Ontario. And so We're really excited to be able to offer this brand new program. One thing to note, if you're thinking about applying to nursing, there is a supplementary application that is required. And what's great about Carleton is once you apply to our school, we're actually going to provide you an email that will kind of break down your next steps. And that's really important for you to read that email, because you'll see exactly, in the case of nursing, what's required in terms of additional information. So what can you do when you're asking questions? Well, you can unearth new cures. And what's happening in our health science program is just that. So we're looking to investigate whether or not soil can be used as a potential source for new antibiotics, as we're looking to fight the different diseases that we're seeing develop over these last few years and into the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Can we find new sources to fight those to provide new antibiotics to help fight those diseases? Those are the sort of questions that we're asking within our Faculty of Science. Now, I mentioned engineering earlier on. Engineering and design is an area where we're asking, questions and solving problems of today and problems of tomorrow. And, aerospace engineering is one of those programs that students get super excited about. It's a fairly unique program here in Ontario. We're glad to offer it at Carleton. But I want to talk about industrial design, because for me, I love products. And industrial design is all about developing products that we're going to use every single day that will address, again, particular needs in our daily lives. And none of us can really function without products. We all have, phones, laptops, cool water bottles, whatever it is that you utilize all the time. An industrial designer has identified a potential problem and a potential solution to said problem. And I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So the student here, what she's doing is developing a jacket that uses body heat to generate light. So think about living in the northern communities up north here in Ontario or across Canada, where there are periods of the year where light becomes very scarce. And so what if you need to still work or interact or travel or whatnot? Being able to utilize that body heat to generate the light does two things: provides you with that source, and it's also a very sustainable way of generating that light. So this is what we're talking about when we think about innovative problem solving that addresses the world of today and the world of tomorrow. And that's really all that happens all the time within our engineering and design faculty. The next areas you're going to see here are related to some of our arts and social sciences and our public and global affairs. And in these areas, you're really thinking about the skill sets that are really built into everyday life and also into everyday work. And I was at a conference last week, and they were talking a bit about AI, and artificial intelligence gets brought up a lot. And obviously, it's something that we are all thinking about and interacting with and figuring out how it's going to impact our lives. And one thing that AI doesn't do is replace the human skills that we have, the ability for us to listen, to think critically, to communicate clearly, to create connection. And these are all skill sets that every employer is looking for, and they're being developed within these areas. And so when you're thinking about cognitive science, it's all about how we think, how we learn, how we know, and how we understand. And that study could be really applicable to a variety of different jobs that are out there, and we also have a really great cultural perspective here in the city of Ottawa and on Carleton's campus, and that's expressed through programs like our Bachelor of Music, but also accessibility to things like our national museums that you'll find in Ottawa. There are 7 of 9 national museums right here in the nation's capital, and that's a very unique perspective that you won't find anywhere else in the country. There are programs that are really dealing with how we see the world. Our communication and media studies program, our journalism program, our media production design, these are all programs that are designed to tell stories that really do matter. I don't want to date this recording, but last night was a pretty big election that happened in the United States of America. And so our journalists are at the forefront of telling the stories that we were seeing and trying to understand throughout this election cycle. And so to be able to tell those stories is a huge skill, an amazingly important skill. If you have a social media account, you're telling stories all the time, right? When you hop on TikTok and you do the latest dance or whatnot, you're telling a fun story. Or if you're sharing, what's happening in your life on Instagram, again, you're storytelling. So to be able to have that skill set is really applicable for my future influencers, or perhaps my current influencers. Maybe some of you all are influencing on social media. You might want to go into one of these programs here to continue that development, the ability to tell those stories. If you are someone that wants to become a leader, I think that the programs that are listed here are generated and geared towards utilizing your leadership skills. And I really love that program, that Bachelor of Social Work program, because it's not just thinking about how we can, get someone out of poverty or remove someone from being in a homeless environment, but eradicate homelessness altogether is the goal. It's a structurally based program. So we're looking to analyze the structures that are in place that may cause some of these scenarios, and then attacking those structures. We're trying to analyze them critically and call into action ways for us to improve and perhaps change those structures for the better of our communities locally, domestically, internationally too. So it's a really, really exciting program. And again, I've been talking about skills because sometimes there isn't a direct correlation between your degree and your career. Sometimes it's just a matter of feeling inspired and then following that track. The student here that's pictured, Keisha, she went into our political science program, and then she did a minor in critical race studies. And she didn't think that she was going to become an author when she went into political science. And yet she noticed that there was a serious gap in representation in children's literature. So she decided to use her writing skills, her communication skills that she developed through her program, and apply them to addressing that need. And how awesome is that? How cool is it to be able to actually, in real time, kind of process what you're learning and then saying, oh, well, here's a place that isn't being filled. Let me use those skills to fill that space. It's really what I think university is designed to do, is to help you kind of identify that. So shout out to Keisha, and shout out to all of you as you ask your questions in our Q&A. And this year Q&A is very, very active right now. So really great to see that all those questions are being asked. Our Sprott School of Business is the last area I want to touch on, and we have a brand new Bachelor of Accounting. So if you want to be an accountant, go into your Bachelor of Accounting. If you're not sure if you want to be an accountant, then you'll want to go into a Bachelor of Commerce or a Bachelor of International Business. It's really that simple. And I'm the host of a podcast that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And on our podcast, we've been having conversations about the Sprott School of Business that I think you'll really like to hear, because it's showcasing what makes Sprott at Carleton such a unique place to study business. And we really want to help you with your entrepreneurial skills as well. And the student here was able to utilize his entrepreneurial skills to develop a new company that creates a way for you to solve your equipment issues on the fly. If you go for a hike, it's the worst thing that can happen is for your equipment to fail. And so with this kit, you're able to actually build and fix your gear while you're hiking, which again is a very important thing to be able to do if you are engaging in that type of activity. So all this to say that your program is meant to draw you nearer to your career, even if you don't know what your career is going to be as of yet. And the big point of this is that there are so many new jobs that are being created, so many new pathways that are being established, so many different, career perspectives that are being discovered every single year. And sometimes it's hard for us to actually identify them until they happen. But what our programs are going to allow you to do is actually be prepared for that moment, for that new job, for that new career, for that new pathway, no matter what it is, because you're going to be armed with the right skill set, the right experiences through things like co-op, the right opportunities to network and to connect within a city like Ottawa that is such a vibrant city that you'll be able to tackle whatever comes your way. Okay, so gosh, I'm whenever I get a chance to present, I get excited because I kind of wish that I was back in high school, and having this knowledge and being able to kind of say, oh, you know what, there's such an amazing opportunity that is here. And our sole purpose, to be honest, at the university level here at Carleton is to just help you really kind of discover those opportunities, and then do your very best to maximize those opportunities too. Okay, so again, super excited for you all. Now, as we continue to think about our community and what makes Carleton, super unique, one of the things that usually comes to mind is residence. And you'll be happy to know that residence is guaranteed for all first-year students. So as this video plays, I will show you some glimpses as to what the on-campus experience will look like here at Carleton. I want to talk a bit more about what that means when we say guaranteed residence. Okay, so when you apply to Carleton, you'll be applying to our residences. When you receive your offer of admission, as long as you receive it before May 16th or on May 16th, or should I say by May 16th, is a better way to put it, you will also receive an offer of residence. Then you'll need to accept your offer of admission first, fill out your residence information, accept your residence offer, pay your deposit. And if you do those things by our deadline, you will then have a guaranteed spot in res. Now, we guarantee you a traditional double room. So what that means is that a student will have a room with a roommate, and then 2 rooms will share a bathroom. That's our traditional double room setup. Now, there are other setups that are available. We have suite style residences where when you walk in, you'll have a kitchenette area, a common space, and then a bathroom, followed by your own or your double rooms in the suite. And then we do have single rooms that are available. So in some cases, you can request your own room. But for the most part, the expectation is that you will have a roommate in year 1. You also have the expectation of eating your meals in our cafeteria. And as you can see on screen, our caf is a happy place. Everyone is happy. Everyone is smiling and chatty because it's beautiful. There's a really a larger renovated space now in our cafeteria on campus. And our residence fees will include your dining experience. So our dining hall is an unlimited access, all you care to eat culinary experience, which means you can come in and out as many times as you like during operating hours. And when you go, you can eat as much or as little as you like every time you walk in there. Okay, so you've already paid for that meal, and then it's really up to you to decide what that meal looks like. So really excited to be able to offer you that. A lot of really great connections in residences, including our residence fellows that are upper year students that are designed to help kind of guide you, mentor you, make sure your transition from high school to university goes as smoothly as possible, particularly if you're going to be living on campus. And I know for me, like coming from Toronto, it was a big part of my transition to the city of Ottawa and to the Carleton community was living in residence, because when I lived in res, I got a chance to, again, connect with other people who were going through a very similar experience of being in a brand new location. And what's brand new about Carleton too, when it comes to residence, is how we allocate your rooms. So this past year was the first year where we generated a new system, which, for lack of a better word, is kind of like a dating app, in that you are able to create your profile. And then you can see other students' profiles as well on our platform, and that kind of exploration will allow you to again see other students that are living in residence, learn more about them, interact with them before you actually live in residence, and perhaps ask folks, "Hey, do you want to be a roommate?" And select your roommate again before you actually live in residence. So there will be a familiarity moving into your first year versus when I did it, I had no idea who my roommate was. We met each other literally on move-in day, and while it turned out really great, that first moment was, very kind of anxious, or I was feeling very anxious, not knowing who that person was. So you won't have to worry about that. You'll be able to really get a chance to interact with those folks you'll be sharing spaces with throughout the summer leading up to your first year at Carleton. So very excited about that. Very excited about our Ravens as well. When it comes to sports, our student athletes do a wonderful job of representing Carleton University on the playing field. I would be remiss if I didn't mention our Carleton basketball program that is universally accepted as the best basketball program in Canada. It's one of those things that's not even like a subjective or a braggy comment. It just is what it is. Our women's basketball program has won the last 2 national championships. So they've gone back to back. Our men's basketball program is pretty legendary. They've won like something like 15 championships in the last 20 years. So they've done a really great job, but our other sports teams have excelled as well. And there's really a pride that we feel when we get a chance to cheer on our Ravens, either on the pitch or on the diamond or on the ice and so on. And it's exciting for you to be able to do that. If you are a varsity athlete, if you visit goravens.ca, you'll get a chance to connect with our coaches and learn more about what it's like to be a member of our sports teams, how to try out and so on. We also offer intramural sports. So if you're someone that isn't trying to play at that varsity, the highest level, but are still wanting to, stay fit, have fun, try a new sport perhaps, our intramural sports program really allows our students to do a deeper dive into athletics at Carleton with your friends and meet new people while you're at it. And then also we have a really great gym on campus for all students. And then we have a gym facility for our resident students as well. So if you live in res, you can use either or. For all of our off-campus students, certainly can use our main gym. And that's included in your athletic fees that are included in your tuition fees. And then if you want to participate in some of the fitness classes that are offered, we have a CU Fit Pass, which will allow you to pick up classes like kickboxing or yoga classes and so on that are offered on our campus. Great facilities on campus as well. We have 2 NHL-sized ice pads, a triple gymnasium, squash courts, tennis courts, Olympic-sized swimming pool. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So a lot of great ways for you to stay fit and have fun while you are at Carleton. Okay, I mentioned this earlier. I'm super excited to talk about the Talking Raven podcast. We are in year 5 of our podcast, and this podcast has been created to help you, again, truly understand who we are. We're not trying to hide. We really want you to know us before you make your decisions. And this year, the podcast has really highlighted some of the professors that are going to be guiding you and teaching you and working alongside you to help you achieve what you want to achieve at the university level. So we drop a new episode every Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to be highlighting the admission process, the application process, the admission cycle. And so if you are someone who is either starting or is about to start applying to Carleton, you're going to want to tune into that next episode that's dropping on Tuesday, November 12th, to learn more about what the next few months are going to look like. So again, super excited about our podcast. You can find it wherever you find your podcast. That's the end of our kind of big formal presentation. But before we wrap things up, I do want to encourage you to, again, hop onto the OUAC to submit your application if you haven't done so already, ouac.on.ca. In Ontario, there is a common application deadline of January 15th. Whether you're thinking about Carleton or other universities in Ontario, we encourage you to apply by then to be considered for the earliest offers possible. Okay. And then go onto our admissions website, admissions.carleton.ca, to learn more about the application cycle and also to learn more about upcoming dates and deadlines that will matter to you. When you apply, you'll be encouraged to set up your 360 account, 360.carleton.ca, your one-stop shop to register for events, to book campus tours, or you can scan that QR code to do that. And also to monitor your applications. You can do that right on our 360. And we're telling the stories that you're telling as well on the same platforms. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. Give us a look, figure out what makes Carleton really a place like no other. That is all for me. I really appreciate all 661 of you for being here today. And what I'll do now is open up for maybe a couple of live questions we could take from our Q&A. So I'll throw it back to either Lisa or Francesco to do that. And I'll stop sharing my screen so we can fully engage in that conversation.
Well, I know that there's a lot of questions coming in that are very specific to very specific programs, which of course we can't really answer here today. It really kind of depends. It depends on your situation, the marks that you have. I guess one of the questions that did come up is with regard to athletics. I know that some people get athletic scholarships, but they were looking into, can I also do athletics at Carleton as well?
Yeah, great question. And yes, you definitely can. So we have a list of varsity sports as well as competitive clubs that are available. So if you're someone that's thinking about, again, competing at the highest level, Varsity sports is when you get a chance to compete for national championships. So like our basketball program is a full-on varsity program. Our women's rugby program is varsity. Our football program as well. So that's a chance for you to compete at that highest level. Our competitive clubs are also competing at a very, very high level. It's not competing in the same kind of league that you'll see with some of our varsity teams, but certainly an opportunity to represent the Ravens in whatever sport that you play. And then again, our intramural sports are designed to give you a chance to stay fit, to stay active, to try sports, to play a sport that you love, but you're not doing it at that competitive, or at least externally, that external level. You're playing within the Carleton community. For our varsity athletes, there are opportunities for athletic scholarships. It's a little bit different than what you might see in, let's say, in America, where there are cases where students receive like a full scholarship. We have a board in Ontario that kind of regulates the amounts that could be allocated to varsity athletes or student athletes. I believe the maximum is $5,000 for our student athletes in Ontario. That doesn't mean that every single student will get that, but somebody you can certainly engage in a conversation with some of our coaches if you are looking to play for one of our varsity teams. Okay, so the key website for you to remember is goravens.ca. That's ravens.ca. That will allow you to learn more about the sports that we offer and then connect with the coaches that may be able to help you figure out how to join one of our teams.
Great, thank you. So a lot of the questions again that are coming up are all about what do I need to get into this program? What is the best thing for co-op and all this other stuff. So maybe if you could just do a quick summary as to where they can get information aside from them going simply to their guidance counselor at their current high school. What would be a way that they could sort of quickly navigate to the website to see what programs are available? Is there co-op? What do I need to get in? What's the minimum percentage? Because these are the questions that keep coming up and it's kind of hard to answer them all individually.
Yeah,
Something you could direct them to?
for sure. Yeah. So I think for me, admissions.carleton.ca. That's admissions.carleton.ca. We have a really cool tool where you'll go onto the page, you'll click on how to apply, and then it'll ask you, okay, are you a student from Ontario? If you are, awesome, select that. What program you're looking at, and it'll show you exactly what we're looking for, what the courses look like in terms of high school courses that are required, averages that we're listing as being our minimum cutoff averages for you to be considered for the programs, and then the process for getting into whatever program you're thinking about. So that's the first thing I would do is admissions.carleton.ca. Now,
could you share your screen and show them just quickly for a
sure.
visual? Perfect.
Yeah, here I'll show you. So this is as per the PowerPoint. Here's the site, and all I'll do is I will try to hop into the to the actual website here.
Sorry, I also just wanted to mention I just put it into the Q&A chat for the link to the site as well. So please check in on the Q&A chat. You'll be able to access it.
Perfect. Thanks for doing that, Francesco. And Lisa, can you see the the website?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so it's literally you go to how to apply. Okay. So when you click on that, then it will tell you, it'll ask you for your educational background. So when you click on Ontario High School Current, and then you select, let's say, our Bachelor of Accounting, and then get details, then it'll literally show you exactly what we're looking for. So the cutoff range is listed here, the admission requirements listed here, the specific courses that are required, and then the actual process is all listed here. So it really does give you a quick snapshot as to what to expect. Now, when you hop on the OUAC, if one of your programs does require, or not, does offer co-op, not required, but offer co-op, you're going to want to select the co-op option, okay? By selecting the co-op option on the OUAC, you're not saying, hey, I'm absolutely doing co-op, but you're saying, I want to be considered for that option and kind of see whether or not I want to explore that later in my degree, okay? From an average perspective, when people ask me about competitive averages, if I'm going to be frank, I think the most competitive average you can get is 100%. And I know that sounds a bit radical to be like, oh yeah, well, I'm not gonna get 100%. But the idea is that the closer you are to that 100% average, the more control you'll have in this process, right? So we are trying to admit, the best students possible. And And the closest thing to an objective process for us is by looking at your admission average. And so if you're someone that has an 85% and you're looking at a program like accounting that says 80% is required, well, then you're in a better spot than if you had an 80%, right? But if you have a 90%, then you're in a better spot than if you have an 85. So this is kind of the way that you want to frame it is ultimately saying, well, let me give my very best output in high school and then utilize that to dictate the way that my application process is going to go. And these averages that we list, these cutoff ranges are telling you, hey, if you're at that range or above, you're going to be considered for the program. Doesn't guarantee you a spot, but it certainly puts you in a place where you can be considered for admission depending on how the year is going. Okay, so please use those averages that we list in our review book or on our website as a really great kind of starting point for the conversation, but certainly not a ceiling. It's more of a floor, to be honest, than a ceiling. So you want to try to get the highest average you possibly can, but certainly be performing at or above the averages that we list. Okay, does that help to clarify things, Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to give them sort of a visual. Many of our students here today are in high school and have lots of questions. So if they're just sort of looking through, I know that many schools have different programs like My Blueprint and what have you that can help them kind of look at their pathways, and obviously talking to their guidance counselor. That helps as well, but this also gives them a really good way to sort of look at for Carleton specifically programs. Another question that I'll ask is, what would you recommend for either international students or students who are no longer in high school? So maybe they're at adult high school. Is there a different sort of piece of advice you could give for applying and looking at programs for those students?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for those students, it's the same process, right? So all you have to do is to go onto the same website and you're just going to select your background. So if you're someone that is, someone that graduated from Ontario High School already, so then you pick as an Ontario High School graduate, and let's say you're looking at computer science, and then you'll see the details that will be listed on here as well. So same idea. We do list the courses that we're looking for and so on. If you're an international student, well, we do have an international page on our admissions website, which is really handy because it does provide a bit more information specific to international applicants. And so I would recommend that they would go onto this part of the site. And what's great about our website is that we do post event information as well. So when you go onto this page, you'll see there's a virtual open house happening on December 7th. So for international students, this is a great chance to learn more about who we are without having to travel to our campus and be able to really kind of start that conversation, that dialogue. And the other thing I would mention is never feel like you're asking us too many questions. We're here at Carleton to help, and sessions like this are really great. Emailing us is a really great tool, calling us, hopping on our chats. We're really available to assist you, and it's what we want to do. We want to clarify and also make this process as seamless as possible, so you don't have to stress about figuring out how to navigate our website. We can help you do that. We want to make sure you can focus on your studies, on your health, and ensuring that you're making the right choice for you. But don't feel like you've asked us too many questions, because that's never the case. We're certainly an open kind of book or open door policy school where we want to assist students at every step of this journey leading up to your first day of class on our campus.
That's great. Thank you. And I know that there's like 201 questions that we have not been able to get to. And I know that that might frustrate some of you. So please reach out to everyone. I just wanted to ask Francesco if there's anything that you wanted to ask Stenley based on your responses that you've been giving in the question and answer boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to answer a couple of them. I've been getting a lot of questions on pre-med in specific. Definitely recommend health sciences. This is a great option for some students. One of my best friends, Tristan, actually recently graduated med school and took health sciences from Carleton University and is currently working as an emergency doctor. So I can definitely tell you that it is a great option for you. But yeah, definitely that's one great option. We also have a lot of options under biology and biochemistry and neuroscience. Those are all also amazing options for doing some pre-med work as well.
That's great advice. Thanks, Francesco, for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Well, I just wanted to thank Stanley and Francesco for coming here today to help us with answering as many questions as we could. For those of you who are interested in Carleton, please make sure that you navigate to all of the resources. Again, this recording will be available on the launch website up to a month after today's session. So check tomorrow if there's something that you missed. That's how you'll be able to access all of the information. And if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Stanley or Carleton. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and hopefully you will enjoy the rest of your next sessions. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll end the session now.